Warfare, an A24 film depicting a platoon of Navy SEALs whose surveillance mission during the Battle of Ramadi goes awry and thus compromises their position. The soldiers are being gunned down as they try to figure out how to take care of their wounded and get out of there alive. When it comes to war movies and dramatizations of these kinds of real-life events, we as the audience need to appropriately set our expectations. It's not really accurate to say the intent of this movie was for an audience member to have a good time or be entertained per se by the events going on. But rather, the point of these kinds of movies is to get a glimpse of what war is really like. And in that sense, Warfare was absolutely excellent. The tone of this movie starts off fairly lighthearted as you're getting introduced to the Navy SEALs and their brotherly, but understandably, rambunctious dynamic. The first chunk of the film is fairly observational, as these operatives are focused on positioning themselves for surveillance of the insurgents. There is a subtle, ominous tone, and the tension is felt early on. The movie also has a heavy use of military jargon that isn't always clear, but it is enough for you to get the picture of what's going on.
Redman 08 is profane. We're seeing activity converging to your north and south.
This is Frogman 6 Romeo. We need evac on our last known position.
You definitely do not get the sense that the film is dumbing things down for the audience whatsoever. Instead, it's staying true to its intent of delivering a very real and visceral story. You really get the sense that you're right there in the battle with the soldiers. Now, it might have been a limitation of what the movie was at liberty to communicate, but I didn't think it was very clear what the soldiers were commandeering the house for, nor who they were looking for. I had to search it up for this review to determine that their mission was about surveillance. However, I think the point of this movie wasn't really about the objective of the mission, but rather what happens when the mission goes wrong, and you've got to get your men out of there. From a performance standpoint, man, this movie was incredibly impressive. You really gotta tip your cap and show respect for how effective, efficient, and real the combat looked. Director and Navy SEAL himself, Ray Mendoza, and his team deserve a lot of credit for getting the actors to embody and display what warfare really looks like. The combat and tactical choreography was executed very well. The sound design was awesome. The choices of when to instill chaos with all the bullets and flyovers happening.
Where are you guys?
Look for the blood and the smoke!
Multiple bad guys trying to get to our position.
Inbound! Inbound! Find cover! 1 minute out!
And then the muffled effects to feel how disoriented and concussed the Navy SEALs were was so riveting and engaging. I watched Warfare on an IMAX screen, so all the sound effects got my heart pumping and at the edge of my seat. I even got a bit sweaty with everything going on. The movie is very graphic as well. It does not have any reservations, nor hold any punches for depicting how gruesome, brutal, painful, and chaotic war is. The performances were great all around, but Cosmo Jarvis and Joseph Quinn absolutely nailed it with their characters. I found Warfare a very satisfying and yet sobering time at the movies. My personal biases acknowledged, I have a very deep respect for those who serve my country. And yet there's this other part of me that does not take lightly the brutality and darkness of war. Warfare provides a very jarring and unsettling, but masterfully executed depiction of the realities soldiers face. This movie gets a very strong recommendation from me, but you've got to know what you're getting yourself into. And that's the gist of my thoughts on Warfare. How do you feel about these realistic depictions of war? Where do you think Warfare stacks up in the pantheon of the genre? Hit me up, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll catch you next time on The Gist.